year of our Lord 1429, after 66 years of bitter warfare, the great hegemon of Beelzebub, Yersinia Rex, was finally brought down by the combined forces of the Church led by the living Saint John Dark. The final cataclysmic battle of Valen saw the destruction of most of the forces of the Black Grail in mainland Europa, thus ending the Corpse Wars. Enraged by this defeat, the fury of Beelzebub knew no bounds. He had invested so much of the power of the Black Grail on the fallen hegemon and his legions that the hatred of the Lord of the Flies turned on his failed followers. The Prince of Decay cursed his miserable progeny and cast them out of the Order of the Fly, dooming them to wander the earth, mourning for their lost hegemon until time itself is no more. But not all the members of the cult of the Black Grail that took part in the Corpse Wars suffered the same fate. From the city of Ekron, where the power of Beelzebub has always been at its greatest since the Elder Days, came the priests of the Black Grail, who acted as messengers and heralds to the hegemon, advisors sent by the Lord of Flies himself to plot the conquest of the Church Heartlands. They were part of the religious rather than the military hierarchy of the Black Grail, and as such were bound to the Lord of the Flies directly. When the war was lost, these high-ranking servants of the cult and their personal guards broke through the faithful encirclement and turned south. Though victorious, the exhausted and decimated forces of France, the Holy Roman Empire, and the Crown of England decided not to pursue the last remnants of the seemingly broken foe. This mistake proved to be a costly one. Instead of fleeing towards heretic domains, the forces of Beelzebub stormed the city of Avignon. The city had been fortified against just such an occasion, but it was betrayed from within. Hidden cultists of the Lord of the Flies opened the gates to the invaders at night, led by the traitorous cardinal of the city. His name is now struck from all records, but it is said that he had grown jealous of the Supreme Pontiff, wishing to be seated on the throne of Peter himself, but he had been denied. Humiliated, he sulked into the bishopric of Avignon to slowly plot his revenge. His time came when those followers of his, who had joined the cult of Beelzebub in secret, opened the gates and welcomed their conquerors. In a single night, the city was overrun and turned into the vilest den of pestilent corruption this side of the gates of hell. In a mockery of the papal throne of Rome, the cult declared the opening of a cathedral of Beelzebub in the great palace of the once beautiful city, issuing a direct challenge to the Bishop of Rome for the spiritual leadership of the continent. The traitorous cardinal now declared himself the antipope, and since that dark day he has sat on the seat, drowning in endless ceremonies to warped congregation flies, untold billions strong. In a revolting parody of holy matrimony, this patriarch of Beelzebub married an enormous sow bloated with Grail's disease, defiling thus the grand chapel of Avignon. This union spawned the first missionaries of the Black Grail. His creatures are a mix of unclean beasts and the high clergy of the cult, filled with missionary zeal to convert mortals to their cause with far greater autonomy and intellect than the soldiers of the Grail. These children of the Fly lead missionary war bands, which the Patriarch sends out to challenge the spiritual supremacy of God rather than conquer the lands, as is the duty of the Order of the Fly. After many torturous years under the rule of the cult, Avignon is now so ridden with the most virulent and unique strain of the Black Grail that its recovery seems to be a cause with no hope of success. The very earth is warped and teems with parasites and maggots infested with the filth of Beelzebub, with trillions of eggs hatching each year to overwhelm the city with further decay. Every faithful force sent to raise the city has only succeeded in swelling the numbers of its monstrous inhabitants, as its would-be conquerors have succumbed to the power of the Black Grail, which never wanes in this accursed place. Thus, a policy of containment has been chosen instead, as the servants of Beelzebub do not pursue an open policy of expansion. Because of this, significant forces are kept around the hinterlands of Avignon, both to contain the corrupt preachers of Beelzebub from infiltrating Europa, and to stop those deranged men and women who wish to join the ranks of the cult of their free will. The number of such such deranged people is disturbingly high despite the best efforts of the Church. In revenge, the Patriarch of Beelzebub sends out his own bands of missionaries to spread the ecstatic word of the Black Grail across the globe. On moonless nights, music like the buzzing of a million flies can be heard rolling over Avignon's decaying ramparts. Then the deformed but silver-tongued missionaries lead plague almoners. Swollen oblates and thrall monks out of the gates and engage in battle against those who refuse to receive the joyous tidings of the Lord of the Flies. Many are stopped by the ever-vigilant patrols, but some make it through the cordon, and their corruption becomes a seed from which new infestations of the Black Grail spread.